Good afternoon and welcome back to the workbench. Today I'm just looking at this little motherboard here. It's a, what is it? It's a Gigabyte GA-F2A58M-DS2. It's an FM2 Plus board. Supports FM2 and FM2 Plus CPUs, I guess. I bought this second hand for $10 because I thought it might make an interesting video, and also if it works I can use it for myself for a little mini build that I might want to do something with. But anyway, there is a problem with it, which I think should be easily solvable, but of course in saying that it probably won't. But anyway, it has a password on the BIOS, which means apparently you can't get into the system and do anything. It's not like a setup password, it's a full system password, so you can't even boot or do anything, allegedly. That's what the seller said. I don't know. They showed a photograph showing a password entry screen on a monitor somewhere, and that was it. And I just thought, well, hey, it powers up, it obviously posts, so it works, but yeah, we've got to deal with that. And I believe it should be as simple as just taking the battery out and clearing the CMOS, and it should get rid of the password. I don't believe desktop boards have much security in that regard, and you should be able to reset it by just taking the battery out. Or at least that's how it used to be, you know, with old stuff like Pentium 3 and Athlon XP and stuff, I believe. Laptops, of course, are different. I think a lot of those, the security may be done a different way, so taking the battery out may not actually reset anything, and you might have to do something else, like reflash the BIOS or reflash the EC chip or whatever, or replace it or something. I don't know, I've never actually done that, but yeah, this one should be pretty simple, I think. Now, there's no RAM in it, but I've got some RAM I can put in. It's just DDR3, basic stuff. I'll set this up and power it up, and we'll see what actually it does, and see if removing the battery and replacing that will solve the problem. And I'm pretty sure it will, but I guess we'll find out together. Alright, so I've got the system plugged in now. We have video out, we have some power connectors, and I put some memory in there, as you can see. Well, that's all we need just to verify the operation, I suppose. So let's switch the power supply on. This is actually one I repaired in an earlier video. It was a 400 watt Zellman power supply that had a shorted 5 volt standby rectifier diode, which I replaced. Anyway, where's the front panel connector? That's there. So if I just hit these, there we go, it turns on. Now I'm going to have to change my monitor input to see if there's anything on the screen, and then I'll have to yeah, I can see that. Well, you can't see that though. Let me just bring my camera up so we can see what's going on. Okay, so I don't know if you want to see that from down here, but we do get a password prompt. So the system does turn on, yes, that's true, but it does say enter password, which of course we don't know, and I don't have a keyboard plugged in anyway, so I can't try anything and just see what happens. Maybe I should go and get a keyboard. Alright, we've got a keyboard here. Let me plug this in. It's USB, so who knows if it'll actually work. I mean, it should do, although this thing does have PS2 ports, so it may be expecting a PS2 keyboard rather than a USB one, but let's give it one. Oh, we've got a numlock light on here, so there we go. Let's see if we can type on it. We can type, okay, so we can enter something. Let's be lame and just type password. Invalid password, no surprise. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, no, nothing logical like that. Yeah. I'm not going to expect that it's correct, and after 3 tries it's locked me out. So let me just reboot with Control-Alt-Delete. We'll see if it shows anything other than that. I don't know what CPU is in this. It'd be interesting to find out. It could be anything between, I think, a dual core and a 6-core CPU, I think. So there's the like, what was this series? Like the A10 series, I think, and like the A8 and the A6. Something like that. Anyway, I don't know. I never like looked at this platform very much, so I don't really know like the deal with it. Anyway, there we go. So, well, it definitely has a password, and we definitely don't know what the password is. So, like I said, let's just switch this off at the power supply there. And let me just try to power that back on. Make sure there's no power there. Okay, so now I want to take the battery out. Let's see. Which it doesn't seem to want to come out. Oh, there we go. Okay, so the battery's out. It's a KTS battery. Seems to be a pretty common brand I've seen on these things from the factory. It's probably the original one. It does have dual BIOS too, so I don't know if there's maybe something we could do with that to like flash the old BIOS back or something, but you'd think the security system would take that into account, but who knows. They probably don't expect you to get into the case and actually start fiddling around with anything. Now there should be the clear CMOS jumper around here somewhere. I want to look for that because sometimes you got to hold that down too. Clear CMOS is here by the front panel connectors. You can't see that very well, but it's just here below the bottom PCI slot. So if I can put a jumper on that just to be 100% certain that we're gonna clear that data if there's anything in there. If I can find a jumper. I'll just hold pliers on it, I think. Here's a nice fat pair of pliers with wide things. Let's just clamp those onto the clear CMOS jumper, and I'll just hold that there for like 10 minutes. I mean 10 seconds. 10 minutes! You wouldn't need to hold it for 10 minutes. That's ridiculous. There we go. Anyway. That should do it, if that was going to do it. So I'll put the battery back in, and we'll power it up again and see if the password is gone. So it's a shame I can't get both of these on the shot at the same time, but I'll get the monitor so we can see that. And I've got my screwdriver, power the system on now. Let's see if that fixed it. Got no display yet because it's still obviously reinitializing everything. Oh, we do still have a password. Huh. So they have increased the security since like socket 370 and all that, which doesn't surprise me. I kind of wondered. Unless, of course, I didn't actually clear the data. I will try that again. I'll actually find an actual jumper, and I'll do that properly because you never know. But it's possible I will have to reflash the BIOS or something. Okay, so I've got a jumper on this thing now, a proper one. You can see it there, that little blue one there. Possibly, if this thing is in focus. Anyway, that's good enough, right? So I've taken the battery out, I've jumped it again. I'll actually just make sure I take power out of the power supply, just to be 100% sure there's nothing powering it whatsoever. Yeah, let me just hit the power button contacts again. Okay, let's just leave that for a while, but if that doesn't work, which I guess possibly it won't, because yeah, maybe they've actually fixed that security sort of flaw in desktop motherboards now, apparently. Of course, yes, this has now become more complicated than expected, but we shall proceed. So, where's that battery? Let's get that over there so it doesn't short out on something. I do have a programmer here. This is a little basic serial EEPROM programmer in a little case. This case I 3D printed myself, actually. It's quite nice. I was given a 3D printer by someone. It's a basic Ender 3 with some upgrades. Given that recently by someone who wasn't interested in doing anything like that anymore. Which was pretty awesome, actually, to receive that. So yeah, I've been sort of fiddling around with that, and I managed to print a few useful things. But there we go. So these are programmers here. Basically, they just come as a bare board on like eBay, AliExpress, whatever. It's a CH341, so it's a pretty basic thing. I think it just basically uses a USB to serial interface chip, and then you just use everything else done in software. So it's pretty basic, but it works. for serial EPROMs anyway. Won't do parallel ones, but most modern stuff nowadays just uses serial. So this kind of thing will work for most stuff these days. And it's cheap. It was like, I don't know, I think it was like $12 NZ dollars for the kit with the programmer itself. You can get the programmer by itself cheaper, but the kit also came with like a in-circuit clip adapter and a ZIF socket thing for putting, bare surface mount things in here, because obviously you can't put surface mount ones in this. You can only put through-hole ones directly in here. Yeah, so it's quite good value, I thought. It's a shame it doesn't come with a case by default. You have to make one yourself or buy the far more expensive version that has a case. So I guess if you have access to a 3D printer somewhere, it makes much more sense to just print your own. Anyway, so let's not worry about that right now. While I've been talking, and I've got that jumper on there, so that could have solved the issue. But yeah, let's just try this once more. Let's see, one more time, we'll give it a go and see what happens. Let's see, I'll put the battery back in and power up. Oops, take the jumper off first, otherwise that won't work. Okay. Actually, I wonder if the jumper has to have battery power to actually function. That's interesting. I never thought about that. Let's see what it does now. Ah! Okay. Well, there we go. Look at that. That's an interesting question. So maybe you need the battery in for the reset jumper to actually function. That's interesting. I didn't think of that. Okay. Well, let's into the BIOS. What have we got? What does this thing actually have? I can't see anything there. BIOS version F2, base clock 99 MHz, CPU 3.8 GHz, memory frequency 1600, which makes sense. 8 gigs of RAM, okay. System information. Where does it tell us what CPU we have? I have no idea. You'd think the older BIOS would tell you straight away. Maybe it's under... I have no idea. An A4-7300. I don't know off the top of my head what that is. It's a dual core. According to this, there's 2 cores. That's kind of sad. I was hoping for at least a quad core, but hey, what do you expect? Interesting. There's a dual core with some sort of graphics in it. Doesn't say exactly what, but I imagine it's not particularly fast. But however, that should be good enough for what I want. I just want a basic system that can do basic things. Interesting. Well, there we go. So, maybe it's a UEFI BIOS thingy for that. I don't know. Let's go load optimal. There's no load default. Load failsafe. Huh. Interesting. Well, anyway, sure. Why not? What do we get? Oh, wait, what? What? That's interesting. Okay. Maybe because I didn't... maybe resetting the BIOS cleared the settings, and then because I didn't save an exit, it didn't get rid of the password? Huh. I don't know. That's really odd. This is even stranger than I expected. Okay. Well, let's just power this off again. And Okay, let me just do that as an experiment then. We can experiment with that. So I've got my jumper here. We'll put the jumper on while the battery is still in. So the battery is still attached to the motherboard, as you can see. I'm not going to take it out this time. I'm going to put the jumper on. Put the jumper on while the battery is installed, and I won't take it out. And then I'll try taking the jumper off, and we'll see if that resets it. So maybe, because maybe this jumper is actually like a software feature, and this thing has to have power and actually be running for it to actually do this clearing thing. You know, I never actually questioned that before. I used to always usually just take out the battery for like 30 seconds and that usually fixed it. I never had to use these clear jumpers usually. Although most of the time I'd replace the battery, it'd be because the battery was flat and it would have corrupted the settings anyway. So I don't know. Anyway, let's try that then. Let's see what we get. Oops, switch the PSU back on. Got power. What do we have? So did that reset it or not? No, that didn't reset it. Okay. Okay, that's strange. So we'll try what I did before then. We unplug the power supply and we take the battery out and we put the jumper on and we wait a while. Don't know how long. Anyway, now we start looking at the EEPROM programmer again, because maybe we will have to use this. I'll just start trying to find the software that runs this. There is a Linux version actually. That I can talk about that. Well, maybe I should make a separate video for that. But whoops, wrong keyboard. Oh dear. Why is everything so much more complicated than you'd expect? Sorry, I'm just having a look at this software here. It's called AMS Prog. It's a cross-platform software for these CH341 programmers. You can see over here, this is the one. This is the one I've got. You can buy different versions. Anyway, this supports Linux and what else? I think Mac OS as well, and I don't know if it supports Windows. I think I think there's already a Windows one that's made by someone else, so you don't need to use this for that. But this is if you're using Linux or anything. So yeah, you can basically, it functions like the Windows one, but it works on other operating systems and has support for most parts. I don't know what parts these actually are. I probably should have a look. It's an MXIC, so that's Macronix, I think. 25L640BE, I think. I am reading that upside down though. We may not even need to look at this, of course. Let me come back to the system here. So it's been resetting for a while. Let's do that the exact same way I did before. So I left the jumper on, I put the battery in, then I took the jumper off. Well, actually, I think I plugged the power supply in. I think I plugged the power supply in and then I took the jumper off. Let's see what that does. Okay, switch my monitor back to the other input. Hit the power, and let's see. Hopefully we get rid of the thing again. Okay, that's good. So let's go into the BIOS. It said to load optimize defaults, so let's optimize defaults. Yes. Now we do have password in here. I wonder if create new password. I mean, it's not saying anything, right? So it's asking me to create a new one. Is there a way to remove the password? Is there what a system mode? Well, okay, let's just try save and exit that. Save and exit. Maybe that will have got rid of the password. Or maybe I'll have to just do that again and then set a new one. Huh, okay, yeah, no bootable device. Interesting, alright, so that looks like the password's gone now, I guess. So it's not saying, yeah, it's saying I can set one. Okay, let's try setting one. So let's just make it 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, just to be lame. Okay, and if I go save and exit, we should get that password prompt. We do 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it works. So yeah, I know I don't have anything plugged in. Huh. So if we go to system information, administrator password, into current password 1, 2, 3, 4. Create new password. I don't want a new password. So how do I get rid of the password? Clear old password. Yeah, okay, you just press enter without entering anything and it deletes it. But that's interesting. So, so yeah. So to delete the password, you reset the BIOS by taking out the battery and putting the jumper on. And then you load the defaults and then save and exit, and it'll just get rid of the password. So, okay, the security is a bit better, maybe, than it was, but yeah, still not really that good. So, yeah, well, that's good. I got rid of the password, and now I don't have to bother trying to manually flash the BIOS chip, because I don't even know if that one is supported. It seems to be a different model number anyway. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I should be able to use this thing now. I'll plug in a hard drive and just see if it does anything. So let's go. Oh, let's go save and exit. Why not? Well, actually, let's set up some stuff. So we've got all these here. Processor all on auto. And that seems fine. I mean, I don't know what half of these things are. I've never used anything on AM2 platform before. All the memory timing, I'll leave it on auto, it's fine. What do we got? Temperature warning. Yeah, let's have a temperature warning enabled for like 70 degrees. That sounds good. CPU fan fail warning. Yep, we definitely want that on there. CPU fan control. I don't know. It seems to be okay. Let's try full speed and see how loud it is. Miscellaneous settings. 3D mark boost. What? Okay, anyway. This info, the date. Well, the date's going to be wrong, of course, because I just reset everything, but that's fine. Security option. Oh yeah, so that will set the system, so that means that the password will be for the entire thing, not just set up. So you can choose whether you want the password for that or not. Turn off the full screen logo, because I never like those. Windows 8 features, yeah, we don't care about Windows 8. Boot mode, both. Network stack. Okay, that's for like network installation. That's fine. I don't care about that. IOMU, I forget what that is, but I probably don't need it. Interesting. I'll probably have to modify some of these depending on what operating system I install and what I decide to do with it exactly, but there we go. Good graphics. Okay, yep. Set config. Now we want an HCI because that's better quality. Super I/O serial port. Oh, there's an onboard serial port. Well, that's nice. Yeah, well, let's leave that enabled just in case we want to use that. It might be useful. All that seems fine. I don't know. Sure, let's do that. Alright. I've got a 500 gigabyte Seagate here. Yeah, so no bootable device. We'll plug a this drive in and see what it does. well, I'll turn the system off first before I plug it in, obviously, because I'm not that crazy. Even though SATA is supposed to be hot pluggable, I'd rather not if I don't have to. The BIOS version F2, I wonder if that's the latest. I might have a look and see if I can get a newer version of the BIOS as well. There might be a newer one somewhere. Anyway, let's just power this off with the thing. Okay. And we'll take this back to whatever I was looking at before. Oh yeah, that, okay. What we got here? Did I press the right button? No, I didn't. There we go. Okay, gigabyte. GA. What is it? GA-F2A F2A58M-DS2, was it? Yeah, DS2. Okay. What was this thing? The A73700 or something? Or 8700? Shit, I can't remember what it was now. Rev 3. Rev 3.1, that's what the PCB says. Important thing to note with some motherboards, they don't always have the same revision. With this one here, it says down there, you know, so it's upside down, but Rev 3.1, especially Gigabyte, they often change board revisions a lot. So that's Rev 3.1 there. So when you're downloading BIOSes or looking up like CPU support lists or anything like that, you want to make sure you do have the correct thing, and in this case we do have it there, zoomed in insanely. But yeah, we got Rev 3.x, so yeah, so sometimes you'll see like Rev 1.2, like 1.4, 2.x, something like that. You gotta make sure you pick the right one, because sometimes if you use a BIOS from an earlier version on a later version, or the other way around, it won't, you know, it'll brick it, and you will have to manually reflash the BIOS, which at least is possible on something like this. It also has a backup BIOS too, so that's pretty good. But anyway, what do I want? Support, let's have a look. So this was what? BIOS version F2, I think it said. So what do we have? Do we have BIOS? There is an F3A. All it says is it updates the CPU AGISA code for Godavari support, so update, it's a beta BIOS, so it updates for some certain CPUs that obviously, let's see if I can zoom that in a bit. Can you see that? No, that's just weird. Yeah, beta BIOS, update AGB, so we've got the latest normal one. I don't think I need to update it then, because I'm not using, you know, whatever that codename CPU family is. So it's probably fine. I don't even know what the the code names for any of these are. So what is this one? Yeah, I think it was this one, the A4-7300. So that's a Richland apparently. Which yeah, that's actually an FM2 CPU, and FM2 Plus, which this does support. So there is potential to upgrade this to a much better CPU. Yeah, they don't say what core count is on these, but I know some of these I think were actually 6 cores. Maybe the A10s, some of the A10s were. Yeah, the numbering scheme, I have no idea. I've never looked this up before, so I don't know what supports what, but yeah, okay, well, there we go. That's that. So I guess, yeah, we don't need to do anything with the BIOS anymore. That's all fine. So yeah, let's just go back to here, and we'll plug in a hard drive and just see if the thing can actually boot a drive. I think it should. I don't see why not. It all seems to be working okay. Now I need a power plug. Let's see. There's a SATA power connector. for this hard drive. Wow, that's weirdly tight. Try a different connector there. Okay. Alrighty then, let's get that plugged in. So this shouldn't actually do much of anything. Hopefully this constant camera rejigging is not making anyone nauseous. Well, let's see. There we go. Oh, that's weird. That hard drive is making funny noises now, as if it can't get enough power to spin up. It was working last time I used it. Maybe this power supply has rubbish cabling. Let me try a different plug. Let's try that again. Or did the hard drive just die right about when I go to make a video? That'd be typical. Okay. I can't hear any funny noises now. Ah, yep, there we go. So yeah, so there we go. That's been... oh, whoops. Where's the auto adjust thing on this? There we go. Yeah, so that's been wiped by kill disk by some company that's resold the drive. Yeah, so it's booted from that. That's obviously what that puts on there. So yeah, so this motherboard can post, it can run, it does have a bootability, so yeah, I'm not surprised. So that's great. So it looks like this thing is usable now. Come on. No, I want to go into the BIOS setup. Let's see if I can get into there. It said Dell or F2 to get into the BIOS. There we go. So yes. Yes. I'm slightly disappointed. Yeah, A4 7300. Mildly disappointed this is only a dual core CPU, but it should be good enough for what I want. Yeah, I just want a basic system to run, well, would this thing run Windows XP? I don't know, I don't think it's old enough, maybe. XP might not be able to handle something, but we could have a look. But I kind of want, like, yeah, an XP or maybe a Vista or Windows 7 system. Not something I'd connect to the internet, of course, but just something I can run some, like, old software on. The stuff that, you know, it doesn't run Linux, even under Wine, it's impossible. Because it needs, like, special hardware access and stuff for things. So that's what this would be useful for. I want to set it up maybe in here as a second system. I did have an old Dell Optiplex thing that I resurrected that I was using for that. I actually was dual booting XP and Lubuntu on it. But unfortunately, I think the motherboard on that is failing, and it's like an old Pentium 4 thing. It's not really worth fixing. I don't think. Though this would be a good replacement for that because it's much faster, it's much newer. And it's, yeah. So I'll probably end up using that. That's what the point of this is, but there we go. So that's interesting. So I've learnt something about how to reset the password on this, and it's not exactly the same as it used to be, but it's not much different either. So instead of just nuking the BIOS by taking the battery out and everything, it'll just reset everything and then the password's gone. You do actually have to go into the BIOS and choose load optimized defaults and then save and exit, otherwise that prompt will come back. And then once you do load the defaults and save and exit, the password will go away. You can set a new one if you want, or you can just leave it off if you don't want one. So hopefully that helps someone. If you're like me, you buy a second-hand board that has a password on it that you are unable to find out the original password. You don't know what the password was, so you can't get rid of it that way. That procedure may in fact work. That was interesting. So I learnt something. Maybe you learnt something. Maybe that was useful. Hopefully it was interesting at the very least. And yeah, I would imagine that in some cases reflashing the BIOS or the EC chip or something may also be necessary. Unfortunately not in this case, but on modern laptops probably. But anyway, that's that. So yeah, not much else to say. What an interesting video, possibly. Yeah. Hopefully that was useful to someone. Hopefully that was interesting, and I'll see you next time.